Chapter 1, Shadows over Hokkaido. Snow drifted across the fields of Sapporo, falling in slow, lazy spirals that made the whole world look soft and quiet. If you squinted, you could almost forget the city was out there, just the endless white, the bare trees, the little black house where Cage and his dad lived on the edge of everything. Cage pressed his forehead against the cold glass. The window fogged up with his breath, and he drew a little pokeball in the condensation. He'd been doing that a lot lately, drawing, thinking, waiting. For what, he wasn't sure. The world felt like it was holding its breath, and he was holding his with it. Yoru, his dad, was in the kitchen, humming an old folk song as he chopped green onions. He always seemed to be humming something, like he had a radio hidden in his chest that never quite shut off. Cage liked that about him, even if he pretended to be annoyed sometimes. His dad was the kind of person who could make you feel safe just by being in the room. Cage had always wondered if that was some sort of superpower. The kettle whistled. Yoru poured 2 cups of tea, steam curling up in the cold air. "You're quiet this morning, Cage," he said, sliding a cup across the table. "Did you have that dream again?" Cage looked away, embarrassed. He'd told his dad about the dream once, the shadow with red eyes, the voice calling his name, the strange warmth in his chest that felt like fire and fear at the same time. Yoru hadn't laughed, or told him it was just a dream. He'd listened, and then hugged him tight. "Yeah," Cage said. "Same one." Yoru nodded. "Dreams are the mind's way of telling us something. Or maybe it's the universe. Or maybe it's just too much curry before bed." He grinned, and Cage couldn't help but smile a little. They drank their tea in silence, listening to the snow fall. Cage thought about school, about the other kids who talked about Pokemon battles and trading cards and which starter was the best. Everyone had an opinion, and everyone was convinced they were right. He thought about how he'd never even seen a real Pokemon up close, except for the Pidgey that sometimes picked through the trash outside the train station. He thought about the dream, and the shadow, and the way the world seemed to be waiting for him to do something. That's when the knock came. It wasn't the polite tap-tap of a neighbor, or the heavy fist of the mailman. It was soft, almost gentle, but it echoed through the house like thunder. Cage felt his heart stutter in his chest. Yoru set his cup down and went to the door. He opened it, just a crack, and peered outside. Cage saw a sliver of black cloth, a flash of silver hair, and then Yoru stepped back, letting the stranger in. The man was tall, impossibly so, with eyes the color of storm clouds and a smile that looked like it had been carved from stone. He wore a long coat with a high collar, and a medallion around his neck that shimmered in the light. Cage felt something strange when he looked at him, a pull, like gravity, or fate. "Good morning," the man said. His voice was deep, but soft, like velvet over steel. "My name is Maesut. I've come a long way to speak with you, Yoru. And with your son." Yoru bowed, polite but cautious. "We're just simple folk, Maesut-san. You must have the wrong house." Maesut shook his head. "No mistake. You are Yoru of Hokkaido, once a great trainer, now a father." He turned to Cage, and his eyes seemed to see everything. "And you are Cage, the boy of shadows." Cage felt his cheeks flush. "Why are you here?" Maesut stepped closer, and for a moment, Cage thought he saw something behind the man, a shape, a shadow, flickering on the edge of sight. "There is trouble in the world," Maesut said. "A darkness rising. Old enemies, new powers. I need your help." Yoru's face hardened. "Those days are behind me." Maesut smiled, just a little. "The world does not care for our plans. It calls, and we answer. Or we watch it fall." He reached into his coat and pulled out a small, black stone. It shimmered with an eerie light, pulsing like a heartbeat. "Have you heard of the Sinnoh region?" Cage nodded. He'd seen it on maps, heard stories from travelers, a place of ancient myths and powerful Pokemon. A place, some said, where the veil between worlds was thin. There is a group there, Mesut said. They call themselves Teemo Ni. They seek to create something unnatural, Pokemon fused with yokai, spirits from the old stories. If they succeed, they will not stop at Sinnoh. All the regions will fall. Yoru's hand clenched on the table. Cage saw the old fire in his eyes, the one he'd only seen in photos, or heard about in stories whispered late at night. Why us? Yoru asked. Mesut looked at Cage. Because you are of the shadow, and of the light. You have the power to see what others cannot. And you, Yoru, have faced darkness before, and won. Together, you may be the only ones who can stop this. The stone in Mesut's hand glowed brighter. Cage felt that warmth in his chest again, the same as in his dream. He saw flashes, strange creatures with glowing eyes, a tower of stone and shadow, a woman with hair like the night sky, a man with a mask and a smile like a knife. He looked at his dad, and saw the answer in his eyes. Fear, yes. But also hope. We'll go, Yoru said, voice steady. Mesut's smile softened. Good. There is not much time. Pack what you need. I will take you to Sinnoh. Cage ran to his room, heart pounding. He grabbed his sketchbook, his lucky coin, the old scarf his mother had made. He thought about the world outside the snow, the city, the life he'd always known. He thought about the dream, and the shadow, and the way his dad had said yes. When he came back, Mesut was waiting by the door. Yoru had put on his old coat, the one with the patched elbows and the smell of campfire and rain. He looked taller, somehow, more himself. Are you ready? Mesut asked. Cage nodded. As ready as I'll ever be. Mesut placed a hand on Cage's shoulder. The world seemed to flicker, the air shimmering like heat on asphalt. For a moment, everything was silent. Then the room dissolved in a burst of light, and Cage felt himself falling, spinning, flying. When he opened his eyes, he was somewhere else. The snow was gone, replaced by green hills and ancient trees. The sky was wide and blue, the air thick with the cries of unseen Pokemon. Cage stumbled, dizzy, and Yoru caught him before he could fall. Welcome to Sinnoh, Mesut said. Cage looked around, eyes wide. He felt small, and scared, and impossibly alive. Somewhere, far away, a bell tolled. The adventure had begun. And in the shadows, something watched. Something waited. The hero and his father had left home behind. Whatever lay ahead, they'd face it together.